Hi everyone! In this video, I'm going to answer the question, what is a sentence? A sentence is a group of words that has a subject, has a verb, and has a complete thought. So when you look at an English sentence, which is not a question, it's going to begin with a subject. What does that mean? That means you have a noun or pronoun, usually, at the beginning of the sentence to answer the question who or what. Who or what is this sentence about? So we'll see the answer to that question at the beginning of a sentence. After that, again, if it's not a question, then after that, in the second position, we'll see a verb. So normally, we'll be looking at an action word, but there are also verbs that don't show action. They're called stative verbs. The verb to be is a very common one in that group. And then all of that together will express a complete thought. All of that together is going to make sense. It will be enough. I would like you to notice that the words that are written in color, so subject, verb, these are places in a sentence. These are parts of a sentence. And these places, these boxes, are filled out with parts of speech. So there are 8 parts of speech. If you haven't seen my video on parts of speech, you can watch it now. But with selecting from those 8 groups, from 8 parts of speech, to find words to fill out these boxes, which are parts of a sentence. So again, usually a subject is a noun or pronoun. Usually what goes after it is called the verb. That's the name of the place in the sentence, but that is also the box that gets to be filled out with verbs, the same name for the part of speech that goes there. So here you see some examples of sentences, and I color-coded them. So in red you see the subject in these sentences, and you see a noun, you see pronouns, and then in blue you see verbs. And you can notice that the first 2 sentences don't have any other words. The last one has something else after the verb. So it's not necessary to have more than that. You can just have subject and verb as long as that already expresses a complete thought. Very often, however, we do need more words that will go after the verb to complete the thought, and that is going to be called a complement. Not the one that you hear when people say you look beautiful today. That one is spelled with I after L, but the kind that completes my sentence, completes my thought. And because it's not required, it's not always there, it does not have a number, and complete thought is something that does have a number because that is a required element of a grammatically correct sentence. So you see another example, another sentence that shows you different elements. We have a subject, we have a verb, and we have a complete thought here. Very often I'm asked by my students, what is an object? So let's look at the structure of this sentence one more time. We start with a subject, and the subject is a noun or pronoun that comes to the left, comes first, before the verb. After the verb, I can have different types of endings. I can have different parts of speech, different types of phrases. So if it happens so that what I have to the right of the verb also looks like a noun or pronoun, then that is what's called an object. So a subject answers the question who or what. We usually answer with a noun or pronoun, and we put it to the left of the verb. Then we use a verb, and then if it happens so that what we have to the right of the verb is also a noun or pronoun to answer the question who or what, then that's what called an object. So it's one type of a complement, one way to finish my sentence and to arrive at a complete thought. So here I have some sentences that show how it all works and how it's all used. So again, red shows the subject in these sentences, blue shows the verb, and then in green I have objects. So you can see that if I use nouns, then nouns in the subject position and nouns in the object position look very similar. There haven't been any changes made to these words. However, if I use pronouns, then what goes into the subject position needs to come from a group of pronouns called subject pronouns. So he, she, I, you, they, it will be something that I'll be putting before the verb. If I want to use a pronoun to the right of the verb in the object position, then what do you know? These words will come from a different group of pronouns. This one will be called object pronouns. So instead of he, I'll use him. Instead of she, I'll use her. Instead of I'll use me. You doesn't change, but they changes to them, we changes to us. So different types of pronouns, object pronouns this time. And there is one type of sentences, imperative sentences, that looks like breaks our rule and doesn't have a subject, but we actually do have a subject in these sentences. It's implied. We're all thinking you when we create sentences like that, and the subject is there, it's just not pronounced. So I hope this was helpful. Thank you for watching. Goodbye.